Welcome into the Casual Gaming Conversation bonus episode. Today we are talking about Ninja Gaiden 4. But before we get into that, Nick, how are we feeling?
I'm doing all right, man. This is one that I rolled credits on a couple days ago at this point. I got my notes. It was a fun little playthrough. I'm excited to break it down with you. Excited to be back on the mic with you, dude. As always, it's the freaking weekend, big dog. I slept in today for the first time and I don't know how long on a weekend day. So it's very, very nice to be able to just ease into the morning talking about some Ninja Gaiden 4. Been listening to way too much Toil Pilots recently. That's the big thing. That's the big thing that's on my mind right now. I can't
The
stop.
news.
I can't stop and I can't be stopped. Like, and the worst part is I don't think that this latest Toil and Pilots album is unbelievable. I don't. But we've been over that. I think that's good. I good at best. Like there's certain tracks on here that I'm like, yeah, these are okay. Certain tracks on here that I'm like, this is a really great track. I don't think that there's anything that we're hitting home runs. There's not anything on here like Morph off of Trench where I'm like, that song is just freaking awesome. That's a really unbelievably well constructed song. Whereas this is just a lot of really good to okay to great. And so you'd think eventually I'd fall off. It's been out for a month now. This album is called Breach, by the way. I can't be stopped. This morning went in before I even opened up my phone and had a thought about technology. I was like, I'm so excited to listen to more 12 Pilots today. Before I even thought anything, nothing caused it. I was like, man, it's gonna be real great after the podcast to go and grab a coffee and toss Tally on in the Prius and just bump it. You know what I'm saying? Connor, big news. We want to know what the plan is after this shooting this podcast. Gonna get a new
What?
aux cord. Gonna
That's
go,
huge.
gonna bite the bullet and get a new aux cord. Here's the issue. It's definitely not the aux cord, it's definitely the dongle. So I'm gonna have to spend $30 between the two of them.
Yeah.
But
Something you just got to do, though.
not the end of the
You got to
world.
be able to listen to music in your car. It's just a requirement.
Well, I
Kind of make
don't
the rules.
listen to music in my car almost ever. 90, last night I'm going to hang out with friends. I got a 20-minute drive. I listen to the Fantasy Footballers. But if I go and get
Does
coffee in
that
the
not
morning,
sound weird because of the
no,
broken aux? No?
so normally when you have an aux cord that's messed up, there'll be certain audio feed stuff where songs are intentionally made with two headphones in mind. So when I listen to the Strokes, especially, it's obvious because there's the two lead guitars and one of them just is not going to be on the other side of the aux cord. Whereas with podcasting, if you have one of your speakers blown out or something like that, the other side should go and hold both of our voices the exact same. That's the intention of it, at least. Unless we're shooting the podcast on the boat, where there was that one time. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where
Mhm.
it was going through one ear and the for you speaking, and the other ear when I was speaking. But yeah, I'm gonna go bite the bullet, listen to Tally. Very excited about this, but I don't listen to music in the car. That's the broad scope of this. Is I legitimately unless I am with you and we are on a road trip. I don't listen to music in my car. Even when I'm on a road trip, I don't listen to music in my car. I listen to podcasts. I catch up on my backlog of podcasts. There's so many. There's too many podcasts now for me. I'm all in on the footballers. That is my go-to. I watch the fantasy footballers every single day. They're brilliant. I think that they are legitimately just ridiculously good at what they do outside of just being knowledgeable about fantasy football. And then I listen to Gamescast or Kind of Funny Games Daily if there's something that catches my eye or something I want to know about. And then there's also the Min-Max show that I've listened to basically every week now. There's just too many podcasts, so I got to take that car time to be my podcast time. So my game time can just be really focused and dialed in on gaming. You know what I'm saying? So all that to be said, getting a new aux cord. Very excited about it. It's going to be a good time. Connor's going to be really happy about it. Even though we're not going to be... When's the next time we're road tripping, dude? When's the next time you're going to be in my car?
I don't probably next year for a recollecting retro, I
Yeah.
would imagine.
Oh, well, also every now and then we get lunch and you hop in my car or you and Brady hop in and yeah, I
Right.
know you'll be annoyed that the aux cord isn't working during moments like that. How are you doing, man? How's your Saturday morning going?
I'm doing good. Yeah, it's just gonna be a normal Saturday in this household. Doing some chores, playing some video games, finishing out Ghost of Yotei. Excited to see how that all comes together. But yeah, just nothing really new to talk about.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you want to hop into the fact that this is going up for everyone and normally on Patreon?
right. Yeah. So this bonus episode is gonna go up for everybody. This is posting on Monday, so it's a little bit early. Usually this would be posting on Thursday over on Patreon at that $5 tier. You get a bonus episode every single week, but when we have embargoed reviews like this, we send it out to everybody. So if you want to support the channel and get bonus episodes, you can go over to patreon.com/coop64. You can get a bonus episode. You also get the casual gaming conversation 3 days early. And you get the casual gaming news conversation 3 days early as well. So we really appreciate the support over there. If you want that additional content, or if you just want to see the channel grow, support the channel, that is the best way to do it. So yeah, do you want to get into the review for Ninja Gaiden 4,
I
Nick?
do, but first, I want to hop in and toss out the fact that we do have a Red Dead Redemption 2 subathon at the end of the week when this is posting. On the 24th of October, we will begin the greatest journey, the greatest video game story is what I hear a lot of people toss out there. Like, Arthur Morgan is a lot of people's favorite character. I'll be experiencing for the first time the full story. I've played some Red Dead 2 before, but I've never beaten this game. I've never come close to beating this game, I don't think. So I'm going to be hopping in Red Dead Redemption 2 Subathon. It's going to be a great time. You're not going to want to miss it. Officially, we are starting at 9 a.m. 3 hours on the clock. The main reason we're starting in the morning is I need to have more time to play this game. Like, we need to have that full day on Friday be a full day of gaming, or else I'm going to be playing this till like Thursday next week. So 9 a.m., 3 hours on the clock, 5 minutes per sub. Everyone that goes over to Patreon to upgrade their pledge or be a new pledge over on Patreon, that time is worth double. So if you go in and sign up for $5, it's 10 minutes comparison to a Twitch sub, which would be about $5 for 5 minutes. So just thank you so much already for the support that y'all have given that already. Just the excitement that's in the air with this one. We're so stoked here. Like, this is one of my favorite things to do. One of my favorite things that we get to do as a channel. I just wanted to toss it out there with this one going out to everyone to remind everyone that we're doing that. Very excited about this Friday. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Right on. All right. Do you want to give the overarching thoughts on Ninja Gaiden 4, Nick?
Yeah, this is a weird one. I want to start. Oh, first and foremost, shout out to Xbox for sending over the review copy. This is an odd one for me because when you and I previewed Ninja Gaiden 4, you were a lot higher than me. Like, everyone could kind of tell when we were previewing it. Like, I was like, this is really good, and Connor was like, this rips and everything. And so just due to scheduling, though, this hits my desk, and I'm like, oh, like, I still had a great time with that preview opportunity where I was like, this was a ton of fun. I'm excited to see where this all goes from a narrative perspective, from a combat design. Like, where are we going to end up with Ninja Gaiden, you know? And as much as I would love to go back and forth with you on this, obviously you've been busy reviewing a bunch of other stuff. Ninja Gaiden 4 is a very good video game. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. We're going to hop into all the reasons why I'm around that 7.5 area. But the biggest thing about this game is the rule of cool. This game's really cool. This game goes and relies on the fact that it is really cool to get the player from point A to point B. Boss fights, pretty cool. Art design, dope as hell. All this stuff like sort of adds into, hey, at any given moment, you're like, damn, this is cool. Like, you know, we're talking about a game with ninjas where they go and backflip on walls like back and forth and like for like so long, and it's like the coolest thing ever. Like, there's so many just cool aspects to Ninja Gaiden, and they're amplified here. First and foremost, this is my first full Ninja Gaiden experience. I played a little bit of 2 Black earlier this year, didn't hop into Ragebound. So like I sort of know what's happening with Ninja Gaiden as like a style, but I'm not like all in on what Ninja Gaiden needs to be, this overarching narrative. Yeah, I think that this game is very, very cool, but there's certain gameplay aspects that hold it back for me. There's certain boss aspects that hold it back for me. There's certain just general aspects that I'm just like, it's upsetting at times where I'm playing this game and I'm sort of just so on autopilot that like I don't give a shit. That's my biggest critique, just in general. I think that the game doesn't engage the player enough at times, which is dumbfounding to say when we're talking about a game where you can go and like slice bodies in halves and do cool ass finishers and stuff like that. It's like just not for me. It took me about 10 hours to roll credits. I know that that's varied a little bit for others, but like 10-ish hours for me. And like I ripped through this campaign. This was for review season. This was the first one that I was like, oh, let's get to it, baby. And I just tore through it in a couple days. And like I enjoyed the hell out of it. I really did. Like, and this is the hard part. Is this like a piece of art? I don't necessarily think so. Is it really fun? Yeah, like it's really fun and really cool. And so it's the hard dichotomy of like, what's the review brain want to say, and like critical brain want to say, and then what's my like, I just want to watch cool backflips and like crazy gory finishers and like awesome character design and world design. Is like that's all pretty cool. Like that's all here kind of in spades. So yeah, we can hop into just like sort of more of the minutia, but those are just my general overall thoughts.
Right on. I want to start with the story here. I know that Ninja Gaiden isn't necessarily known for like this excellent narrative, but I played a few hours of this, like you said. I played about 4-ish hours, I would say. And I thought the story setup was semi-interesting, but you were like completely out on it.
Yeah,
Does that has that changed now that you've seen the rest of the game, or does it kind of remain a moot point?
I think that the story is better than what I remembered it to be. So like we hopped in, we played this preview opportunity, we played the opening of this game, and the opening of this game, there's not like something that happens beforehand that's down the game. It's the same opening that we played, right? And the interesting aspect of this was I think that they like throw like a lot of jargon at the start of this game of like, okay, this is the priestess and this is the dragon and this is like all these different things that are going on at once. Whereas like by the time you get to like a few different levels in this game, like you really sink into it, you're talking to characters so often, and this is kind of a critique that I have on my point. You're talking to these characters and side characters enough that they're just reminding you about like what the main plot point is, which is like, okay, we got to go and do this. And I don't want to go and like spoil like the main objective of this game. I feel like potentially for Ninja Gaiden fans of old, this might be like something that they are looking forward to or something. But it's such a basic concept, and that is the game. That is what you're doing the entire time. There's no switch up in what the overarching objective. There's no twist. It is just down the barrel, baby. A normal ass story of you got to go and do this. And to go and do this, you got to go and do 3 things beforehand. It's very much like a fun adventure with friends going and trying to basically, not they aren't MacGuffins, but they are 3 things that you got to go and do before you get to the final moment. It reminds me a little bit of, this is a random ass poll, Uncharted Lost Legacy, where it's like, all right, like we know we need to get to here, but we have to go to these 3 things first, and then we get to there. Like, and that is sort of the overarching story that you get, or gameplay experience that you're going along with these characters. And then it's all about the side characters from there, and like your interactions with them and how the story develops, and you actually get like there's the attempt of making you emotionally attached to these side characters that like are progressing the story, are reminding you of what's happening from an overarching narrative. But when it comes to story as a whole, it's whatever. It's good, but it's not.
It
It's
doesn't
not.
sound like it gets in the way at all, which
It
is
doesn't.
good.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. If you're here for Ninja Gaiden, I don't think that you're here to go and get a Last of Us type story. I don't think you're here to get a Red Dead Redemption 2 type story. I think that you're here to go and slice and dice, backflip, and body people with cool ass weapons and just like crazy gore and make this like an extremely fun and dynamic experience from a gameplay standpoint. But when it comes to the story, I think that it is supposed to be a little bit basic. We're talking about a game that like the whole thing is you're a ninja and you're in like futuristic Tokyo. Like this isn't like supposed to be a something that's grounded by
It's
any
not The
means.
Last of Us.
Yeah, and so like we have this interesting aspect of like it's ridiculous and fantastical to some level, but like we're here for the gameplay. We're here for whatever. It totally does not get in the way. That's a great way to say it. I think that there are certain story beats that are going to be interesting for longtime fans of the franchise. This is definitely like there are things in here that like can be spoiled if you're a Ninja Gaiden fan. But for me, as someone that didn't like realize what was happening, I was like, oh, like this is cool. This is whatever. But it's not like something that like I really like connected to because I am just so unfamiliar with the franchise as a whole. But like I think that there's going to be people that are like, the story in this is like rock solid to like the story in this is whatever. I probably lean more on the whatever side of it, where it's like, I could take it or leave it. If you asked me in like 6 months and we're doing a 12-hour stream and trivia is part of it, and you were like, tell me the main plot points of Ninja Gaiden 4, I would have the biggest lump in my throat. Like I would be like, oh, like, how much detail do you need here? Because I could give you like just like a one sentence answer, like it's that level of basic. With that being said, I think that there are people that are going to be longtime fans of the franchise who've been waiting for a new mainline Ninja Gaiden that are like, oh, I'm getting what I want from the story. Like this is what I need.
Before getting into combat, I want to understand how this game is structured because you have the two protagonists. How
Yep.
does it handle switching off between the two of them? Are you kind of leaning into one character over another?
Yeah.
From our demo experience, we were only playing as the one character, and you could go back and replay some of the levels as the other
Yeah.
character. But it wasn't like forcing you to switch off. Does that happen throughout the game, or?
So you play this game as Yakumo. Like this is Yakumo's story. It is his adventure. You're in the Raven clan. Like this game's badass. There's so many cool aspects of this game that I want to hop into, and why I think this game is very very good. But you are this is their story. You are playing as them. With that being said, you do in the narrative at one point play as Ryu. That will happen. You do get to play as both characters through this campaign, but you are playing a large majority of this game as Yakumo, and like it kind of makes sense. Like even like when I switched off, I was like, oh, okay. Like I've been enjoying what I'm doing over here as Yakumo so much that like I just want that. Like I don't need another even though Ryu's the legend of the series, right? But like I was so like locked in step, like this is kind of what I'm just doing, and I like what I'm doing a lot. I don't need this gameplay to switch up in any way, and we can talk about like the way that it switches. The answer is it doesn't necessarily. It's very similar between the two characters. I'm curious to see what others have to say that are like really longtime fans of the franchise and understand Ryu's moveset so well, like the back of their hand. And they're going for these like crazy scores on these levels and everything. And like those people are going to be way better at breaking down just the general combat differences between these two characters. But when it comes to the main character, Yakumo, it's very clear as day being like, yeah, like this is your main guy. This is the main protagonist. And then, as we said in the demo experience, we were able to go back and replay levels as Ryu, like, and to just be able to rerun those levels. That's still in this game. So, but like when you're going through that story campaign for the first time, it's not. There's never a moment where you start out a level and it's allowing you to choose. It is a catered experience. They are trying to say this is what you're doing as in this story moment. This is what you're doing in this story moment. Go.
Does Ryu's inclusion feel natural, or is it just like, well, Ryu's the Ninja Gaiden character, we kind of need him in here. Give him a few levels so people don't complain about the fact that he's not in this game, or like how is that handled?
I think that you kind of nailed it. But does it feel natural? Sure. Like there's a story reason, I guess, like that they're in this game. But like if this was Ninja Gaiden 1 and 70% of the way through they were like, hey, let's give this other guy a shot. It's like, what are we doing? Like this, it doesn't feel like a natural switch that would happen in a game that isn't a storied franchise. But the reality of the situation is, it is a storied franchise, and this is a well-established character, and the fans of this franchise that are stoked to go and hop in day one, they want to play as them. And as somebody that is like liked their couple hours with Ninja Gaiden Black, I was like, yeah, like this is gonna be fun. And like going for the preview opportunity, like the way that Ryu line rides and like just runs on the line for these platforming sections, I'm like, this is dope as hell. So like, I'm not upset. I just want more cool stuff in this game. And guess what? Ryu's really cool. My whole thesis statement of this game is like, this is a little bit bad, or like this doesn't make sense, or this is a little bit off, but it's also dope as hell. So who gives a shit about this? It's dope as hell. Like that is gonna trump over every single thing in this review process. So like when you ask the question of, should he like be here? It's like, Connor, turn your brain off. It's fucking cool. Like, go from there. Like, that's all that matters. And so yeah, I think that their inclusion, I think, is going to be really cool for the fans that want to go and run back the story. I rolled credits and put the game down. I want to clarify that too. I know that you might hear that a lot of people go and like run back, go for higher levels, really try to understand these levels. And I think that that's a large part of the way that people are going to get their bang for their buck with this one. We're talking about a $70 title, 10-ish hour campaign. Like those two things normally don't go super well together for a lot of people. But I don't think that this experience is necessarily for the people that just want to run it that one time and experience that story one time. Like I also said, I think there are people that beat this game with a little bit more time. Like it took them quite a bit more time. I was sort of cooking through this one, trying to go down the main path. There's also like secrets and level design and stuff like that that I did explore a little bit. But like if I saw that like I was supposed to go this way, but there was a room that way, I would check out the room that way and see what's up and try to make sure that I wasn't missing anything that was cool or interesting. But I did really main path this quite a bit. I just want to clarify that because I know that people are gonna be like, 10 hours, like that feels a little bit short for a $70 title. The value comes from replaying this, getting that higher levels, really exploring it, and that first time that you play through the story is badass as hell. So like enjoy that too, you know.
All right, let's get into the combat, which is, I think, the aspect that most people will point to as the reason they're picking this game up in the first place. I had no experience with Ninja Gaiden when I played the few hours that we got to play ahead of release. I played Ragebound after that, didn't really love it, but I was excited about digging into this game. Just schedule wise, wasn't able to fit it in. Like I said, focusing on Ghost right now. How did it all come together? I found the combat really satisfying, really fun, just really flashy, fun to piece up enemies and cut them up and get that really cool flashy animation and move on to the next guy. I was having a blast doing that in the few hours that I got to play. How did it all come together through the 10-hour runtime?
I think that it comes together extremely well. I like the way that these levels are structured are kind of exactly what you probably expect. You go through a level, you fight a bunch of mobs, you do some platforming, and then you get to a boss at the end of a good handful of them. I would say about 50% of them, right? Um, the combat aspect, and we'll dive into like the minutia of the combat here in a moment. But the big issue that I have with combat in this game is the fact that you do unlock weapons, you do get this progression. Everything feels so unnecessary. I feel like I could just be rocking my original set of blades. I could be just using the basic move set that you get initially. Like you can unlock certain techniques and combos. Dude, the people that are going to be about that are going to go nuts. And I'm a fighting game guy. I'm trying to hit some of these combos. I'm left down stick, left up stick, square. Try like I'm doing all that stuff. I played on Xbox, so it would be XXXY. But like I'm doing these combos and trying to make it happen. But like all this is just to make cooler combos and get a higher score, which is the purpose of the game to some level. But I also feel like it didn't like push the player in a way, push myself in a way that I was like, I need to go and like get knee deep in all that. Like it makes it obvious that you should, but I didn't need to. And then the second aspect that like sort of holds the combat back is by the time we get to the end of certain environments, I've seen the same guy too many times. I've seen the same monster just a little bit too many times. And I'm like, I don't need to do this again. I wish that there was like, if there could have been like 20% more enemies designed for this game where it felt fresh going through every single level, I think it would have been very, very good. But every single time, levels took anywhere from 20 to 50 minutes on the high end, but it only landed around 30 to 40 minutes. I would get to that 30-40 minute area, like 35 minutes into a level, and I would be like, wrap it up. Like I'm done. Like this I've seen the same guy now just enough. Minute 30, I was chill with it. Minute 30, I was told I was like, this is still a blast. I was going crazy. Like it's a lot of fun. But around that 35-40 minutes, I was like, okay, like I don't need to see this guy again. I don't need to see this animation again. And when you unlock another weapon, I'm switching up weapons just to get like okay, what does this guy look like when I use blades against him? What does it look like when I use this like lancer against him? Like different things that all come together of getting those different animations, getting those different move sets, seeing what can happen. But I was mainly like testing those things not to get the high combos. I was just testing it because I didn't want to get bored with the combat by the end of the level. And so those two things in juxtaposition of like Ninja Gaiden 4 and boring, those two things shouldn't be in the same sentence ever. And I would say like not a majority of the levels, but a good handful. I by the end of it, I was like, all right, wrap it up. I'm satisfied with what I've gotten in this level design. I'm satisfied with what I got with the art direction and everything that's happening there. And so I want to move on from what is happening, which is the combat. And you should never want to move on from the combat in Ninja Gaiden 4. And this is the other aspect of this review. It's like I knew initially that like this would be a really good 10-hour game. And guess what? It's a really good 10-hour game. But like wanting to go and dive in and like re-hop in to make sure I get those high levels. Like I got a D on one level, and I'm like, all right, like I don't need to go and double back on that because I just don't care to go and like get those higher combos in that way. But like I think that the combat goes and is difficult to want to hop back into when that is the case, when we're not getting that good level design or enemy design. With that being said, the core combat in this game is awesome. What you are doing moment to moment is so fucking cool that it's like, once again, everything I said, critique after critique, who gives a shit? This is really cool. Like, this will always triumph. The rule of cool, this is always going to be better than what's happening over here. It's a fact to me. Like, it is a 100% fact that this is so cool that I can critique this all day. But you want to know what else is cool? Getting a weapon with a giant drill shoved through an enemy, having it go and then burst their body open. That's way cooler. And so that's where I want to go and sort of lead on the combat for the rest of this conversation, because that's all that fucking matters when you're playing Ninja Gaiden 4. The combat, you get your you have your weapon, your main weapon, and in the bottom left corner you can see a weapon wheel that has 4 slots to it. I'll let you imagine how many weapons there are in this game. You go and get that first weapon, and immediately you understand the combat system. They do a great job tutorializing this game. I think like really, really impressively good job of getting you in to understand what this combat actually entails, because it's not just mash, 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 and it'll end up working out. Sometimes you do need a little bit more nuance to it. You have X be your attack button. You have Y be your heavy attack button. You have a dodge button that's also the parry button. But if you go and slide left stick or right stick as you are getting ready to block something, you will slide, dodge, and animate. On your left trigger, you have your Raven Clan abilities, which is your like super abilities, which is a bar that charges up. That bar is it's pretty easy and standard to charge up. You can through like 6 or 7 slashes with almost any weapon get that thing to where you're able to go and use a ability for that. That allows you to break enemies, which is probably the most important aspect of this game. I think that this game, if I did not realize that, which I'm not sure I realized that during the demo process, that you are able to break enemies with that ability, maybe would add on another 2 to 3 hours because of like going through this. But it's a main core concept that they do teach you, so I'm not like blowing the spot up or anything. They tell you to do this. I just didn't do it when I demoed the experience. But that bar allows you to break enemies and is like super necessary through your playthrough of using your ability and making sure that that bar is charged up. Also, you get items to be able to like recharge that bar and stuff like that. It is a core pillar of gameplay. You also have a wheel that is another another bar that charges up. This one takes a lot longer time to charge up. This is where you click both sticks and you go into sicko mode. I don't know what the exact definition of it is, but it is your God of War rage. It is your accept the truth moment, I guess, for Final Fantasy 16. Like it is your freak out moment, and that allows you to go and as it is ticking down, hold down, I believe R2, and hold down one of the attack buttons, and it will do a cool finisher where it will like slice through an enemy. It will still frame almost like the end of a Persona gameplay moment, a combat encounter, and then it'll shoot you back into combat, and you're able to do that a couple times. And then at the very end, if you are tactical with it, you press both L3 and R3 right as it's about to go and finish out, and that will do like a destruction ability basically, where you will go and get a bunch of damage on an enemy or a group of enemies depending on the area of attack for the weapon that you are currently utilizing. That ability freaking rips. Or every ounce of combat that is designed within these systems are so well done and so cool that like I really just, even though I wasn't like satisfied with the free coast by the end of the level, I was like, yeah, but like, am I gonna complain about more Ninja Gaiden combat? Like, it's freaking cool, dude. Like, this is still awesome. So having that juxtaposition of like, this is just cooler, man. It's just cooler. It always ended up winning out in my playthrough of this. Like, I just loved what I was able to do with this combat system. And then when you hold down Y, whenever this is very Ninja Gaiden-esque, whenever you hold down Y after a enemy is dismembered, meaning they don't have an arm, a leg, or something, you can go and do a finisher attack on them, and that is not going to give you the persona still frame, but like Connor alluded to earlier, that's going to go and allow you to have your slash ability that goes in like completely blows up the enemy, and it's super sick, very visceral, some of the most intense combat I've ever seen in any game. Very like it's right next to like Doom. You know, like that's sort of the level of like, holy smokes, we're doing that today? Okay. Like it is awesome. It is gory, it's terrific, it's badass, and it really like doesn't let off the gas at all the entire duration of the gameplay experience because that amount of gore, that amount of rule of cool just sticks around the entire freaking time. And so like, do I have complaints with the combat system? Yeah. The weapons are different, but like I don't feel like it's not a ghost situation where it's like, okay, I should be using this weapon during this encounter. And this weapon, there's no rock, paper, scissors. It's play what you want, go for it, and switch it up if you feel like it. And like for me, that's not like I feel like we could have had a little bit more design to this where you could have sat me down and been like, okay, like this type of weapon, let's make them elemental or something. Like this is a water enemy. Let's get out the fire blade or something. Like just make the player switch it up a little bit. And I was switching it up just because, once again, it's fun, it's cool, and that's what they're trying to do. You know, like they're trying to be like, yeah, play however the hell you want, and that is going to be cool for some people. But it allowed it to not be as dynamic as I wish it was, which is just a tad upsetting for the way that I wanted the combat direction to go in this game.
The other pillar of gameplay was these platforming sections where you can wall run, rail grind. The rail grinding sections were very reminiscent of Ratchet and Clank. And even in the demo experience, I was like, "This is cool. This is really flashy, and pretty satisfying." But I could see it getting tired as the game goes on. Like it didn't really develop enough, even in those few hours that I was like, I'm kind of getting sick of it by the end of it. How does that play out through the 10 hours? Does it change? Does it develop? Does it get any better? How did that fare?
I think that they do add certain things to the platforming experience. They do. They're so unimportant, and I think to some level unimpressive. Like I don't think that they like added to the gameplay experience of like I'm doing something that is really helping me platform in a different way. With that being said, Connor, guess what? It's really cool what they add to the platforming experience. Like it just looks cool. It's a different dynamic to have at certain times. And there's different like traversal methods. And I'm like, oh, yeah, like all this is cool. All you're doing always with these type of experiences, you're jumping or you're sliding or you're transitioning to the next rail. That's the base of all these things. But they go like it's still cool, and doing these in these environments are so dope that like when the camera goes super wide and you look up and there's a like You got 3 trains coming in from rails on different sides, and you have to. It all looks cool. There's so much spectacle to it that I'm down for it. I loved my experience with South of Midnight earlier this year and the traversal on that game when it came to the wall riding and stuff like that. And I don't think that that game has super depth to it. But if you give me a kick-ass art style with great music bumping in the background, I'm always going to be there for a transitional period to break up the main gameplay, and that's what Ninja Gaiden 4 does extremely well. Like there's always something to look at. There's always something to get excited about, and I feel like a lot of people are gonna be like, Nick's really high on this review. Like he's really excited about Ninja Gaiden 4. I am really excited about Ninja Gaiden 4. This game's awesome. But what I don't want people to go and like get lost is like on what I'm saying. It is very basic. Like they say though it doesn't like develop in a way that I'm like, "Oh man, now like I'm doing a bunch of things that like makes it really it makes it important for me to think through these platforming sections." It's not. I was turning my brain off the entire time. Oh, okay, train's coming, left jump. All right, go get back on the rail. Like that. That's sort of the monotony of this whole process of platforming. It was very much like just didn't make the player feel like okay, I need to like dial in and focus up. And the combat in this game is pretty gosh darn difficult, just in general. Like getting through some of these counters are tough. It's like I wish that there was the match with the platforming sections being like, okay, like give me like 17 trains coming my way and like jump. Like let me be like a badass ninja in this moment compared to just like, all right, trains coming in, let's wall jump, right, okay, jump over. It's like and there's a little bit of that towards the end where it gets a little bit more complex and a little bit more flashy, but like it just wasn't the most impressive aspect of the game by any means. And I think that it also is just very much PS2 level design. Like the Ninja Gaiden's a storied franchise that developed on these older generations, and this feels like an older generation moment, which a lot of people ask for nowadays. They're like, "Give me a game that feels like a PS2 game." This game, in a lot of ways, feels like a modern PS2 game, and that's really cool. Like I'm about that type of style. It just needs to remain in that like gorgeous art style, a bunch of sauce. Because at the end of the day, we've developed past PS2 gameplay. Like we've developed in a way that gameplay it needs to be more interesting and stimulating to the player. But if you sauce it up, like hell yeah, it's still gonna work for me.
Last bit of gameplay I want to dig into here is the boss encounters. How's the spectacle? How's the difficulty? Did they push you in a satisfying way? Go into the boss experience in Ninja Gaiden 4.
Yeah, the bosses are rad. Next question. Like this is by far the highlight of the game. I don't want to spoil things that are in the back half of the game. But they do something that I really don't like in video games when it comes to bosses. Towards the back half of games, every now and then. If you check other podcasts, you might be able to like put two and two together. But I want to keep it a little bit vague. But when it comes to these early boss encounters and everything, like they're just so awesome. Like they're so freaking good that like it's the highlight. I want to close out a level and have a sick ass encounter. Let me do that, Connor. And Ninja Gaiden 4 lets me do that. You know, like that's what it's all about, is getting to the next major freako, be like, okay, what's the level design of this? How are they gonna look? By the way, like I said, game's punishing at times. Like, and you feel it. When you're going into encounters and you don't have full meds and like heals and stuff that you're gonna be able to use throughout the time. If you go down enough times, they'll just kick you a free heal. They'll be like, hey, here's the small heal. Okay, you got beat enough times. Here's a medium heal. Like just trying to make sure that you do get through it. And that happened to me like on 2 different encounters where I needed that extra health going into the fight. Like I needed those encounters to have the booster pack at the start, or else I was not going to get through them ever. Because like I just didn't have enough cash on me to go and hit the shop beforehand. And so having these bosses so good. Like the boss designs are so great when it comes to what you're fighting and how they fight. We're talking major AoE attacks. We're talking large swings. We're talking bosses that will combo sort of the player, like where you're getting like beat down in a way that like it's not just taking up like this little chunk of health if you get hit once. It's like no, if you get hit by some of these major attacks, your day's gonna be messed up, and that is really cool. It makes the fight feel so much more grand and have a lot more stake to it. And I felt like these were by far my favorite levels, the ones that ended with the boss fight. These were so much more interesting and exciting and dynamic compared to the base level where I felt towards the end very stale, right? Like I was like, okay, like let's get to that boss fight. And when there was a boss fight, I was like, worth it. Like straight up, like 100% everything that just happened was super worth it. There's like a couple of really memorable bosses, and there's a couple, and not due to character reasons. They're just cool freakos, like they're just cool to look at, man. But like, and then there's like terrific level design around it and art direction of like what the arena is, how cool they look. Like all these things are amplified so well that like the bosses are truly the highlight in this game. I think that if we strip the BS a little bit of like the core of what you're doing in these boss fights, maybe some people will be like, ah, like this isn't that interesting. But I'm like, dude, I was pulling out moves, like crazy moves. I was blocking, dodging, trying to go and use the best ability in this game and the most satisfying in my opinion is the ability where you use the move at the same time. You clash swords with someone, or like it might not be sword, it might just be whatever they're hitting you with, right? You clash, and then you're able to like zoom through the person and backslash and go like that ability. I don't know like why this isn't in every other video game, because it's just a parry and then a punish. That's all you're doing, but it looks so freaking cool that I'm like, wrap it up, best shit ever. I'm loving it. Like. And those in the boss fight moments are so sick. And then, like I said, when you have that Raven ability and you're able to break a boss that's about to go do a big time attack, oh my gosh. And that window that you have is small, dude. The amount of times that it would be like, all right, we're about to go and do a major attack. Oh, you're smoked. Like before you're able to like get your hand on the trigger and hit X. Like, and those abilities too, to get like the Raven abilities take a little bit longer. They're bigger swings. So there'd be a time where like I have my blade cocked back like this, right? And they're coming in with the attack, and I'm just like there, like the Willem Dafoe me going like, oh no, like as I'm trying to get this ability out, because if not, I'm gonna get hit for so much damage. But that amount of tension in the middle of a boss fight is so sick to have, because when then you do get the sword to swipe through just a little bit before they come down with their big ass attack and you break the enemy for big damage, it works so well. It's very dynamic, very fun, cinematic as hell at times. There's really cool boss fights in this game. I think that is by far the highlight. Like bosses are sick. The bosses are so well done. I don't think that like it's hard for it not to be like there's so many things about this game that are just amazing, but I have like just a few nitpicks on. And with the bosses, this is the one thing that I really like don't want to like spoil aspects of things in later game when it comes to something that I dislike about the bosses. And because the second that I start discussing it, it will sort of just get into spoilery territories that I like. Some people will say this is not a spoiler. For me, it is, and we refrain from stuff like that on this channel whenever we're getting into those murky waters. And so I do have a little bit of a negative when it comes to bosses, but it's just a little bit of negative. It's really cool. It's really well done. Every single time you face a boss, you're like, hell yeah, this works for me very well.
Last bit here I want to know about is the presentation. How's the diversity of environments? You start this game off in this neon-soaked city. I thought that was pretty cool. How does that develop throughout the game?
It does develop, which is nice. I thought that we were going to be in just neon the entire time, like, and you're not. And I would have taken it. I would have been fine with it. I'm like, this is really a cool environment, and they could have rested on their laurels with that. But the presentation here is at times the biggest strong suit of the game, and at times completely whatever. There's a few levels where you're getting some of like the most vibrant colors and there's blues and pinks in this game that are just like, whoa, like this is awesome. Like really, really fill out a level in a way that goes in contrast to the red blood splatting everywhere all the time in a really cool and interesting way. with that being said, there's a couple levels that I'm like, all right, like this is sort of whatever when it comes to the color palette that you're seeing. And then when it comes to the music, the music is just ridiculous at times. Like it's so freaking good at certain moments, whether it's amplifying a boss fight or you get to a certain environment and it's like, yes, this is awesome. But sadly, just like the environments, it doesn't happen all the time. Like I don't think that the music's ripping 24/7 in this game. I think that the soundtrack is like it's good. And same with the way that this game looks. I think that those two things I lean more on the side of like it's good. It's not we're not hitting that great territory too often because you're having these high highs, but then you're also having these mids, and it sort of just results in yeah. I think that it's good. But I just general presentation though, like I mean even like character design, like Yakumo looks dope as hell. Like that, everything looks really cool in this game, and so I think from a presentation standpoint, a lot of people are going to, when they finish credits, like myself, remember the really cool levels, remember the cool moments, so remember the high highs. But when I was like taking notes on like certain environments and stuff like that, and I'm like, we're missing out like a majority of these environments. Like some of these environments like kind of are completely whatever. But when I rolled credits, I'm like, do I think I'm ever gonna remember those? Hell no. Like it's gonna just be about the sick ass moments. So yeah, I think that from a presentation standpoint, they did all right. I want to double back on combat just real briefly when it came to those systems because I think I kind of praised it almost too much. Just a reminder, it's really great combat and there's just so many moves and arsenals that you're able to hop into. But at the end of the day, I wish that it pushed me a little bit more still. And that is the biggest reason that I can't call this game great. Is like we're playing Ninja Gaiden. This is just like final thoughts. We're playing Ninja Gaiden. The combat needs to be unfucking believable, and I think that is just really great. To good. And I wish it pushed me just a little bit more. But other than that, when it comes to presentation, at times it knocks it out of the park. At times it's a little bit all right. When it comes to boss fights, the spectacle's there. They just shouldn't have done certain things in the late game to go and put a little bit of a sour taste when it comes to boss fights in my tummy before going closing this one out. And then when it comes to just platforming, general gameplay, and vibes, I really did enjoy my time with this one. I think that Ninja Gaiden 4 is a very, very good video game. I think that there's going to be, this feels similar to the Keeper review, where it's like, I think that there's going to be people that give this game like a 9. Like, I think that there's going to be people that fucking love this experience. For me, it's just a really, really good action game. One of the more cool and fun experiences I've had this year. I will not forget my time with Ninja Gaiden 4. I think that it is freaking awesome, but it just isn't exactly this. It's so close to great. I just don't think that it is there yet, though. And I would love to see if they were to do a Ninja Gaiden 5 one day. Like I would be like, sign me up. I'm a fan of this franchise now for sure. I would love to go replay some of the old ones too and get more of that action combat because it's fun and ridiculous for sure.
Right on. Once again, shout out to Xbox for sending over a review copy to allow us to do this review. And thanks so much for tuning into this episode of the Casual Gaming Conversation bonus episode. This show is made possible by all our lovely supporters over on Patreon. If you support us at that highest tier, you get your name read at the end of each and every podcast. Members like Jakey P,
Cash R,
Pigeon Power,
Library Daniel,
Tyler,
Trace H,
Sir Shellis,
Raincoat,
Ooh Gracie,
Chuzar,
MG Dunbar,
Mr. Munchies,
Farmer Spud,
Rocket Tater,
No Fee,
The Dankest Mike,
Swampy Bits,
Jaxie T,
Tristan C,
Sconzy C,
Striking 1978,
Da Scoopy,
Dinkelberg Rules,
Censuro,
Hook'em Horns,
Go Nash,
Neutral Sphere,
Easton C,
Kingdom Hearts Rules,
Stooby Dooby Doo, a Stooby Dooby Doo,
Crispy,
DJ Zach B,
Wooly,
Jacob D,
Big Mac,
Mel Nate,
The Patty Cake,
Bear Pog,
Cowboy Jesus,
Mega,
Yogi,
Damn,
Holden M,
Colin C,
Rock,
Voodoo,
Milky Sins,
Alex the Golden,
Andrew H,
Master Diz,
Cannon Fodder Games,
Bad Fella, duh,
Only One Rufus.
Drifter X one skirt skirt.
Goops.
J Matt B3.
Ally Benally.
Michael.
And Kingdom Hearts Sucks. Thank you so much for joining us in this episode. We'll see you on the next one. Peace out.